You can't give what you don't have. When you are talking about integrity, you are really talking about the real person, who that person is.
When you talk of integrity, you talk of honesty. To be honest. And to be honest means to be trustworthy, to be truthful. And politics is science and art of government.
Politics is about the people.
Yes.
And if you talk about it in a deeper sense, it has to do with how people take decisions on how to lead themselves.
Early hours on Wednesday, February 27, 2019, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, announced the final results for the presidential election. The APC presidential candidates won the election with a total vote of 15,191,847 votes and also winning 19 states, while the presidential candidate of the PDP came out second with a total number of 11,262,978 votes, and also winning 17 states and the FCT. Felix Nicholas of PCP came at third distant with a total vote of 110,196 votes. INEC later that afternoon presented the certificate of return to President Muhammadu Buhari, the sitting president who happened to be the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, and also his vice as his running mate. Despite the allegation of the PDP presidential candidate on election irregularities, noting that there were reports of crises and protests from various parts of the country during the elections. Also, results from the National Assembly which were announced that led to the unseating of some bigwigs in the current 8th Assembly, and also leading to the failure of some sitting and incumbent governors of various states. Released also are international and local observation mission reports of the just concluded elections. These and many more are what we shall be discussing on today's edition of Christians in Politics. Good day and welcome to today's edition of the program. Review of the 2019 Presidential and National Assembly election is our focus for today, and I am Korede Akitunde. And I have with me in this studio Sir Oke Muogbo. He's a weekend editor with Authority newspaper and a political journalist for over 29 years. You are welcome, sir. Thank you for coming. I also have in the studio Venerable J.O. Onuaya, the Director of Civic and Political Affairs for the Church of Nigeria. He was on field throughout the election. Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming. All right, let's take a look at these video reports on the just concluded presidential election before we kick off with the discussion. Stay tuned.
Muhammadu Buhari of the All Progressive Congress, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected. Thank you.
May I now invite the President-elect, Muhammadu Buhari.
The mission also notes the security challenges that occurred on the day of elections, particularly in Maduguni, where prior to the commencement of polls, heavy shelling was heard. This situation undoubtedly affected the voter turnout, as voters could not turn out in numbers to vote under such circumstances. Our observers in Port Harcourt also reported that elections could not hold in the entire Akugu, Toru, and Boni local government areas, and a number of polling units in Okrika in the River State due to disruption of the voting process. The ECOWAS observation mission considers the electoral process were largely peaceful and transparent, as voters were able to cast their votes freely. The mission commends the general public and the voters for their patience and determination to exercise their civic responsibility.
Election-related violence and loss of life, which occurred in a number of places, is deeply troubling. I believe Nigeria can do better.
There was clear partisan programming by the Nigerian Television Authority, state-run media, and local commercial radio stations owned by politicians. With the exception of few states, voters had limited access to diverse and factual information on which to make an informed choice.
Thanks for staying tuned. We are going straight to the discussion, and let me start with the journalist in the studio. So, okay, I know that you must have had a lot on field with your reporters and different journalists that has gone around. What's your overview of the election that Nigeria has just had, the presidential election?
Thank you very much. I think from a report and information we have gathered, we could have done better than this. The election was highly militarized.
Okay.
And, I mean, you can imagine where an army officer would be exchanging banters with the governor, as it happened in River State. This one will talk, this one will reply. Over politics, an army man in uniform. When you get to that level, and then you see clips of all this underage voting, people tampering, and all that kind of thing. And I also observed there was a heavy deployment of presidential power in the course of this election. And these things are raising questions about so many issues. The desirability of having a running president, a sitting president, contesting the election. How much does an opponent, how much chance does an opponent have against a sitting president in an African country, rich like this? It's a very terrible something. We could do better than that.
Okay, very well. You are an observer, and I'm sure that by now you must have concluded your reports. What were the things that you can say about this election?
Well, so much to say.
Okay.
And many of it have been said and over, and some of them were expected. You know, as an observer group, we don't just observe the election, what happens on election day. We look at the pre-election activities. We look at the issue of political environment, whether it was tense or whether it was relaxed. You will know that before the election day, people were already beating drums of war, and there have been tension. The issue of security challenges in the country is no news anymore. Even what happened in Kaduna, almost at the eve of the election, was another issue. So we have an environment that was already charged, and we have an environment unfortunately, where things have not been working normally over the years. So many things were not strange to me.
Okay.
But if I'm to make a general conclusion, and I will not say in all we fared so badly, because we had our observers on ground. It may be in the course of the program, if I have the privilege maybe to read out some things, as we were getting it directly from our people in the field. As the national coordinator, as people were calling in from different parts of the country, I was noting that they are here, getting real-time situation report on ground all over the country. That will give you a bird-eye view about what happened. Yes, there was pockets of violence here and there. It is expected because it is abnormal, but in the situation we unfortunately found ourselves, it was expected because insecurity has been going on in the country unabated. Government have not been able to check it. Armed robbery has been going on. Kidnapping has been going on almost on a daily basis. Herdsmen killing people almost on a daily basis. None of these things have been checked. And in the midst of it, the political actors were on the throat of each other. And there were some particular states where I knew there was going to, they were already flashpoint by our assessment before the election day. Talking about Rivers, I knew it was going to be a flashpoint. Talking about Abuja, it was going to be a flashpoint because we know the political actors in all this area. So even what happened in Lagos is not strange because we have studied the environment and all that. And if an organization like Clean Foundation, before election, they give you the security map and they have the flashpoint and places that are going to be volatile and all that. We already know all these things. If there was bomb blast in Maduguri, it's not a strange thing. To me, that's why I say putting ourselves in this unfortunate situation we found ourselves, most things were expected. And I cannot say the election, like some people will say, the election was complete nonsense. No, I don't accept that. Okay. I've been in this business of observing elections since 2011, and I've been doing it actively. I can tell you here all that has transpired in the structure and the activities and the operation of INEC. If you are not close, you may not see better. I can tell you where the problem lies now. Okay. There are some I can say on air. There are some I prefer not to say on air.
So now let's the observers, their reports, and from what you have also, I think we'll still get to the point of knowing what you've observed from 2011 to now. Is there any effect of reports of observers on INEC's preparation for?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. In 2011, there was no, voting and accreditation and voting was not done together. I remember in 2011, that was one of the things, CONAC, which is Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion, that is the name with which we register with INEC. That was one of the strong recommendations we made as an organization. Okay. I'm surprised to hear that some people were criticizing that now. They don't know. In 2011, we noticed that the number of people that came out from accreditation, there was a very big gap between the number that we accredited in the morning and the number that came for the actual voting. Because they come pass through some stress, and by the time they finish, they go home and say, it's not, I can't go back, it's not worth doing. And many people were discouraged. So all these things are there. So what the point I'm making is that recommendations are being taken in by INEC gradually, and is being implemented. Now, we are again, part of our report this time is that we should apply technology to our this thing, because people may not fully understand. When the INEC chairman was talking about logistical challenges, people, you see, have discovered that your reasoning is limited to your own environment and your own experience. Okay. Until I became the desk officer for all Anglican publications, where annually I'm forced to distribute thousands upon thousands of materials across the 160-something dioceses in the Church of Nigeria, I did not fully appreciate what it means to say somebody is having logistic challenge in material distribution. And I did not fully appreciate the vast nature of this very country and the challenges that we certainly attend to such activities. So there are so many issues that we need to look into. So INEC, to me, to be fair to them, I'm not an INEC, I'm an independent observer, so they don't pay me, so I'm as free as any nobody to speak my mind. INEC, to me, has been improving on a steady basis since 2011. And if you ask me more, there's time I will tell you more about that. It's not just a question of talking.
Let me go to, sir. Okay. You talked of highly militarized election. Let me say, are you just observing what happened in Rivers State, or everywhere was militarized?
No, it isn't everywhere, because I'll give you one instance of what I saw. An army colonel in uniform has no reason exchanging
words with the chief security of a state.
So you find that kind of thing. That's one you saw.
Okay.
And that kind of situation wasn't good. It wasn't good. We expected the military to be in Borono. Metela, what do they call it, in the Baga area, where there are really serious problems, you know. So, but that's exactly what I'm talking about.
What do you think? I mean, from your own observation, now, what do you think? Is it actually constitutional to have military possibly at a distance to an election environment?
I don't think it is, because what I know in the military is that they stay at the background, away from this. They call them when the situation overwhelms the police. That's what I know about the military. And there has also the order who gives order, who gives an order for a military man to go on operation. You understand what I'm talking about?
So let's say, as the election has come and gone, was there any effect of this militarization on, is it voters turnout or the results, or what has been the effect?
Well, it could scare some people from voting.
Okay.
Because people, I mean, because we have gone into an abnormal situation in Nigeria now. Ordinarily, you're not supposed to see soldiers everywhere. Even the policemen carrying gun everywhere. So people could get scared. And once identify Rivers State or Lagos or Abia or whatever as a flashpoint, that's enough to scare people from even coming. And they come out and see a soldier man with a gun, a policeman with a gun. They'll just go back and sit down. My one vote will go and die because of that one vote. That becomes a problem. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Okay.
Now, Variable, let's go back to what you mentioned about INEC improving. But before I go to that, what were major areas where you think election had issues from your own observation team?
Okay, now, let me start with the cancellation of election.
Okay.
Because certainly people will tell you that impacted on the general turnout in some area eventually, and we cannot dispute that because there are some people who traveled before who could not travel again. And so let's start with the logistic issues. Now, the truth is that INEC need to improve in that area, because over the years it has become issue for us as a country.
Okay.
And the last time I came in here, I was saying that we cannot divorce what we call Nigeria factor from all these things. It's unfortunate. Under normal circumstances, where people respect rules and regulations, where people are not living in the jungle, you expect that the materials for election, if it gets to the local government headquarters, what is wrong with it? A week or two before the time. What is wrong with it? Why must a normal human being decide to go to local government headquarters to go and BOGO it and begin to steal materials? But because of the situation we find ourselves in, that is why INEC wait till 2 days before election before they begin to distribute materials throughout the whole country. Now, It will interest you to know that INEC have to mobilize 800,000 vehicles to be going crisscrossing the country just overnight to distribute material. These are material that could have been taken to locations, domesticated there, people go in there, officials go in there, take this thing quietly and use them, and there will be no problem. Where you expect 80,000 vehicles to move within 2 days, carrying materials up and down, you should expect that some vehicle will break down. You should expect that some vehicle will have accident. If one vehicle breaks down on the road, the material will not get to destination. So many things, apart from deliberate sabotage. I'm telling you there are issues there. If we behave normally and INEC can move material, start moving material a week or so to the time, there will be no problem. Look at observers, logistical, from the logistical angle. Do you know that INEC spend millions on printing materials to educate observers, and all that, tags, and all. Over the year, they spend millions upon millions of naira, but none of these things are used. I've raised it with INEC not once, not twice at the headquarters that why do we delay briefing, the final briefing till maybe 3-4 days to election? And it is there you now start telling observer, go to so-so venue to go and collect material. These materials are designed to train observers throughout the whole country. How do I collect material from INEC headquarters 3 days to election and use it to train 871 observers that I'm to deploy throughout the whole country? These are people in Lagos, in Maduguri, in Sokoto, all over. How do I do it? And I asked them, why do you need to wait till a day to election before you start giving tax to observers? How many observation group? Almost close to 150. It's even better now. In 2011, we have 400 and something, both domestic and international observation group. Then you start distributing tax to them a day to election. You start distributing to people in the media a day to election. You start distributing to police. I mean, it is a whole lot of confusion. It's because of the environment we found ourselves. I asked, why can't you give observers? They said the first time they tried to give it early, even observers collected this ID card, went and started canvassing with political party that, see, we have materials, we want to canvass for you.
Let me pick this call from those states. Mr. Olusegun.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, please, speaking from Edo State,
yes.
First and foremost, I want to commend your effort for being on air for us. So the 3 things I want to say about the presidential election.
Okay.
Number one, the military involvement is what really scared people away from coming out. If you listen to the speech of the president saying that a shooting aside should take place, only that alone scared people not to come out because of straight bullets and every other thing. Then number two is the postponement of election really wicked people. And if election was postponed, and even the things that were made for the election was not used, like the card readers and many other things, and Nigerians have folded their hand to look at this system, I think that we are not doing ourselves best. It is good for us to cry out to the international world for this election to be cancelled, so that people will be fully involved in this election, so that the president can make a broadcast telling people that they should come back and vote, that there will be no shooting of anything, that the military will not even be involved. Only the police and other civil defense should be involved in this matter. Then I want to encourage our brother, Venerable Joseph, that he is an observer, he's a Christian, he's a father in the Lord. He should be able to use his good office to open up to the Christians and Nigeria what they saw in the field, because actually what took place during this past presidential election, military were just all over the place, intimidating people, and people were even running away from things. So if we call this election, we are not going forward. I'm of the opinion that we should all come out as a nation, especially as a Christian body, to cry out to the international world so that this election will be cancelled. Because if we cancel this election, then they will conduct another election, that they will encourage every voter to come and cast their vote. Look at people that registered and look at people that vote in this election. And if we put our heart as Christians, how will we continue like this in this nation?
Thank you.
These are not going well for us for good.
Thank you for your time on the show. Thank you.
I'm grateful. So
I almost appreciate that he wants the election to be cancelled. And well, let me pick one thing that which he said. I think two things that we need to also, that we've not even considered on the issue of turnout is the postponement. A lot of people were disenfranchised because of that postponement, and we also look at the scary speech by the president on ballot snatching. Okay, what was your reaction on that speech of ballot snatchers? Because a lot of people have been, yes, the president is right, why should you snatch? What was your...
The president couldn't have been right.
Okay.
See, my orientation, based on the experience I had with Obasanjo as a civilian president and Buhari as a civilian president now, is that we have not sufficiently civilianized our retired military officers. That is my conclusion. You couldn't have given that kind of order. Those who commit offense should go and face the law. Even the INEC chairman subtly, or subtly, overruled him and said, no, those who commit offense should go and face the law. That is the simple thing. But if you watch the presidency of Obasanjo, you see this problem I'm talking about. Over deployment of presidential power. You know, this conquer mentality will always be there with soldiers. Defeat, crush. Once a task is set up, it must be delivered. It doesn't matter by whatever means. You notice it in Obasanjo time. You use one-third of members of assembly to impeach a governor. You do this kind of thing. You are noticing the same thing. We need to either properly civilianize our retired men or ban them from holding that pole of the presidency. The president of Nigeria is too powerful. Only God is more powerful than Nigeria. The Nigerian president is the most powerful president in the world. Now, on the issue of cancellation or shifting of the election, yes, that was one that paid me most. You know why it paid me most? I have background in economics. And we can't keep on taking decisions without thinking about the consequences of decisions we take. It was a very terrible thing. I even know some of my friends on Facebook will say, it's not just 6 days. I mean, just 6 days. You just dismiss the thing just like that. You lock down the entire country. Mama put fellas couldn't cook food. The big person couldn't do this. They were talking about loss. People travel from... I saw a day before that on one of the television stations. Luxury buses in Kano taking people southwest, southeast. Even people from Abuja going to Jos, Meduguri to go and vote. And you finish that, people don't think about the economic consequences of actions we take, and that is why where we are. And look at where we were, 2005, and we will keep on going there if we don't add up the economic implications of decisions we take. It was terrible. Now, if they wanted to postpone the election, why not give 1 week notice? We would have reduced our loss by more than 70%. Because if you are giving people 1 week notice, people would have adjusted a lot of things. It was simply terrible.
Let me take you on that, because you are an insider.
On that again. I thought I've already addressed that.
Okay.
The issue of logistics and the issue of Nigeria environment and the Nigeria factor that makes INEC to leave all the distribution of materials till 2 days to election throughout the whole country.
Okay.
There's no way the INEC, I'm not a mouthpiece for INEC, I'm talking as an independent observer.
Okay.
Who was following the process, step by step. There's no way INEC could have cancelled the election, postponed the election a week before the time, because they have not even started moving the materials from the central banks where they were domesticated. Now, what INEC were dealing with was the issue of sabotage a week or so before the election. Like the case that happened in Anambra, is it the other one in Abia, then in Plateau, where INEC offices were being blown up, card readers were being destroyed by fire. These were clear cases of sabotage.
Okay.
And that is even where when we are talking about the military, if the military and the security would have shown strength, that is the time they would have shown strength by securing these sensitive things. Yes. But this man was busy, INEC was busy trying to make up for those cases of arson so that the election will take place. See, the point INEC was trying to make was that INEC said they don't want a staggered presidential election. And they gave us, the observers, the reasons. That if you allow anything to make this presidential election not to take place in the whole country at the same time, almost what people suspected happened in Osun will repeat itself, where election will be declared inconclusive. Look at the tension that mounted between Saturday and Tuesday when the result was finished. People were tense on what is going on, what is happening. Do you know if elections have taken place the former week, about 5 states will have been cancelled outright or postponed. Okay. And the tension on waiting for final result will have lasted for 1 week and some days, which Nigeria cannot afford. So if that election was not postponed, what we are talking about today would have been what? There would have been a very major disaster. Major disaster. And the party in power would have been able to gauge where the trend of election results and be able to muster security, whether army and whatever, deploy more to the remaining state, that whatever is going to be the outcome will amaze people, whichever part of the country. This was what INEC tried to avoid. Instead of going into this quagmire that we are seeing, why don't we stop and allow material to get to this? Then one thing that will surprise you, you ask like Edo State. My brother called from Edo State a few minutes ago. I'm from Edo State. Why is it that materials that were in Central Bank in Edo State could not get from? I'm a native. Central Bank is in Ring Road. INEC office is in Ikpobahir. It's just a straight road from Central Bank straight to the INEC headquarters in Ramat Park. What made materials not to be able to leave Central Bank? That suggests sabotage. That there was on underground thing going on to stop election in some states so that there will be staggered election. This is what INEC avoided.
Let me just hold you on that, and let's go on this break, on this short break, and we'll pick it up from there. Okay. And just continue. We'll be right back after this break.
Did you know Jesus said, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost"? Did you know ACNN reaches out to all African, European, and Asian countries? Did you know ACNN produces programs that provides Bible-based solutions to your everyday need? Would you consider partnering with us in order to help us reach out to more souls? Then, become a part of ACNNTV Kingdom Investment Partnership. You can be a monthly or a yearly partner. To subscribe, make your partnership payment into this Zenith Bank account. Account name, Brother Communications Limited. Account number 1013267532. For more details and confirmation of your AKIP subscription, please call +234 703 2656544. You can also reach us via email. Together, we can reach the world with the undiluted Word of God.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned. We shall continue with our discussion on the election results for the Presidential and National Assembly. And Venerable, you were just making mention of logistics and all that. Now, that brings us to the fact that, do we need to go digital? I mean,
that is the way to go.
Okay.
I started harping on that. even since 2015. And that is why the bill that was not signed, it was a painful one to me particularly. For once, over that electoral bill, people in the National Assembly displayed statesmanship. They displayed their love for this country. Even though no one chaplain to the National Assembly, that is the institution that is most criticized in Nigeria. But what they did to make sure that we have a clean electoral bill was so wonderful. It was rejected, 3 times, taken back to them, and immediately they worked on it.
Let's pick this call from South Africa. Mr. Tony?
I want to contribute to what you are talking to be online.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I thank God for the program of ACNN. In fact, I don't know that program. It's on the station I watch Shape Africa from Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
I want to know, my pastor colleague who is talking online, is he supporting them that to protect the within 3 hours? To me, that's right. We have to come out to Nigeria and say the right thing. No matter how fair it is.
Okay.
It's not the right thing. How can you protect them? It's a plan, for me, it's a plan of government and INEC. So that means to not vote. It's not done. If also do election, you can give at least 2 weeks in advance or 1 week in advance. That's my crazy issue. And then, please, man, I place my people online, like Corridor and my other brothers.
Yes.
It's good for us to be the truth. It's clear. So you can't perform election and expect to go back again and vote. What kind of logistics are we talking about? I would say person in Africa who do this election, and that did hold on Sunday after Nigeria. We don't get all such rubbish. It's not right at all. What time are we moving forward? What time? My platform panel, I've been working for a long time. I respect a lot. Don't fear anybody. Say the truth. It's not right. That's not this. If they cannot qualify, let them ban them and make them good. I make. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tony.
Maybe. Unfortunately, I know Tony is one of our usual person who calls in from South Africa.
Yes.
And if he has watched this program, he will know that I'm one person that have been very, very outspoken.
Yeah.
I don't fear any person. The evil bishops in Anglican, sometimes they say, you are the only one who can talk to the president for us. There are many have said it to me. Many have called me to warn me to say, if they pick you up, the church will abandon you. So what I'm trying to say that I'm not here to be, I'm not an APC. I'm not happy. INEC. I'm not a staff of INEC. I'm an observer. I'm a priest. Talk about the issue of herdsmen killing in Nigeria. Everyone was mute because they were afraid of the president. They don't know how he will react. It is in this studio, Reverend Canon Agbejumeya and myself ran a program and condemned that in its entirety. And God so good, you people were so wonderful. You keep running that program on air for 3 months before President made the first statement to say, I miss you, fish out the people. Before Catholic, a week after Catholic bishop reacted, other people followed. I just want Tony to know that my kind of person, I don't beg the question. I tell you the way it is. If you sit there in South Africa and tell me what is logistic problem, that means you don't understand what is going on with INEC at all. You don't understand logistic when they say there's logistic problem. Which other language do you want INEC chairman to use when a night to election call is coming in from 5 states that materials, we have not received materials. No single material. And
in the dead of the night.
And the man is in the airport. Communicate with airlines. Anyone we can facilitate. Confusion everywhere. Then you expect them to just go ahead. That is jumping into a pit. That would be a major calamity. See, let's call spade a spade. That is the point I'm making. I'm not saying that the huge loss was colossal. The discouragement he gave to people was colossal. As he talked about the economic angle, I share those sentiments. But my own concern is that we must know that there's a huge logistic problem, so that we should be able to think of a way forward. Because I've told them in INEC, if we go digital, if we apply technology, you don't need to move papers. You don't need even police security.
Yes.
You don't need police to stay inside the internet to be monitoring how information will be passed across. Now, do we need to deploy police for somebody to withdraw cash in ATM? I go from here to my place in Edo State and I simply slot in my ATM card. And money is one of the most sensitive. If it can work for money, why can't it work for just election, where you can carry your PVC, slot it into a system, and it brings out all the political party. You click the one you want. When you go to ATM, if you click 10,000, it gives you 10,000 naira. If you click 20,000, it gives you 20,000 naira. What is difficult for us to do that? Donald Duke, analyze it and say he has done the arithmetic. That what we budgeted for INEC, for instance, to run this current election, if you deploy 1/3 into technology, we will have a technology that will enable every person vote, including my brother in South Africa. He can stay there and use his permanent voter's card. It will be recognized by Nigeria system, and he will vote, and his vote will count. All this question of transfer of this or that does not come in. But if you just sit down and not as an insider, and you just say, the government connived with INEC to cancel election, it was a plan, then you are making what we call sweeping generalization. And that will not help any person. If the paper with me here, I'm not just sitting down like somebody who was only in Abonema. And in Abonema, there was military all over, people were being killed, and the people were... I'm not sitting in Abonema. I'm sitting in Abuja, getting information from all the states. And by our training as observers, you talk about significance. Any incident that happened, was it significant to say the whole election, the whole process was mad? Was it significant enough? If they cancel, for instance, if you have a 1,000 polling unit in a state, using a hypothetical figure, and maybe 20 polling unit is cancelled, is that significant enough to throw away the 980 polling units and say just cancel the election? Do you know the economic challenge that is going to follow if you just say cancel the whole process and go on? See, I'm not saying there are no flaws. In my paper, people were telling us, let me just use this opportunity to give you just how I was receiving it. For instance, I was in FCT municipal, the election was peaceful. Right as I was leaving, somebody was calling me from Masaka, say, no voting is happening here, and this is 1:15 p.m. Then after that, the next caller was from Dekina, local government in Kogi. They say some armed men with gun just came and snatched card readers and escaped with it. There's no INEC monitor on ground. Then the next one that called is from Okota in Lagos and said opposite Diamond Band in was 023, burning of ballot paper by APC thugs. They were specific. APC thug is going on now. Immediately after that, Michael called from Delta, Odu local government in Delta Central, burning of ballot boxes. He alleged that it was PDP. Then Godi from Delta called from Ohio local government, and he said it's from Ward 9. He said everything is peaceful. In Delta, why? Some places were burning, some places were peaceful. The China called from Adamawa. He said Yola not local government, Army Bara pulling boot and the surrounding, everything going on well. Christopher from Kaduna, he said from Tutuwada, he said everything here is going on peacefully. Then Afolabi from Zaria called and said in Christian dominated area, there is delay in bringing out ballot paper, while in Muslim dominated area, election is already going on. I believe it was deliberate. Only APC agents are present. We can't find any PDP agent here. Then somebody called from River and said security challenges at Abonema now. Soldiers have killed some people. Somewhere from Enugu, one politician just came now with people trying to drive his jeep into the polling unit, but it has been prevented. Then somebody called from Edo and said things are very peaceful. Abubakar from Zamfara. Things are going on well. Samuel from Maduguri, he said, I'm from Kwali. A little challenge. There were several bomb blasts, but people have come out and voting is going on. AGK from Wusese, card reader did function very well. Manual accreditation is being done. No. Then it continues like that.
Yes.
So see here now, from Nasarawa, APC buying vote here. And he said, I'm from Igwe Nemba unit. Then somebody from Muji Ward, Zaria, accreditation is going on, and he alleged that there is tribalism, that Hausas are maltreating non-indigenous. In Abia, somebody said there is trouble in Arochukwu. A politician sold army uniform for his thugs and is using the thugs to harass people. So you find out that the story is not the same everywhere. It is for us now, observers at the center, to sit down. Because there was killing in Abonema, I cannot say there was killing throughout the whole country. Because there was militarization in River, I will not be fair as a man of God and as a trained observer. See, we look at this thing the way they are, the way they come, they find the aggregate. That is why you said something at the beginning, or were you the ones who said, maybe you believe my report will be ready now? I can tell you my report is not ready. Why? I don't want to hurry into making a statement that I cannot substantiate. I'm still, people from observers all over, state directors are still turning in their reports. We are busy analyzing them, knowing exactly what happened on ground.
So, okay, let me ask you, do you believe that the PDP presidential candidate should go to court on this? I mean,
that is not an argument.
It has been a case now.
Yes, it should go to
court. It should go. It should go.
Those who don't have anything to, who are not hiding anything, don't have anything to run away from. They should go to court. Not only go to court, they should make the ballot, the thumb-printed ballot papers available. Subject this thing to scientific investigation.
Some places where we had accredited voters. I mean, we have voting more than people that were accredited. Or in some cases, there were people that were places where the accredited number of people were more than those who voted. And we had a simultaneous voting. What could be the cause? I mean,
there was a great deal of sabotage, a great deal of election malpractice in this election.
Okay.
You know, the Venerable is talking about logistics. Yes, we know there's a problem. I have been to the remotest part of Bayelsa State. Me.
Okay.
I lived 10 years in Maiduguri. I have been to the remotest parts of Borno and Yobe State. Why did they get to voting materials in Malamfaturi, in Yusufare, in Yunusare, Tula? And then somebody in Edo State doesn't
cannot have it at the center.
It raises a whole lot of questions.
Sabotage.
The first time I went to Bayelsa State and when I went into the creek, I said, is that where people are living here? And then, if you have been to Yunusari or Yusufari or Tula or whatever, all those places, you will understand what I'm talking about. You will not understand it. So let them make all the printed distance available, subject them to verification. And when I will say one point, then we have to bring technology into our election. Unfortunately, we have to say this, we have been running analog government for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
So people, that's why it's difficult to move on. This government is analog. Take it or leave it. We need to bring technology into this system, which will help us to solve a lot of problems.
Otherwise, we'll continue in this.
One person can please 3 times.
See, that is the reason why Atiku need to go to court, or any other person who feel aggrieved. It is in the court you put this thing on the table before the judges. See, this is what happened in Nasarawa. These are evidences. This is what happened in Rivers. These are evidences. This is what happened in Lagos. Let the judge be the one. He's the final arbiter in a matter like this. And I said it before that during the election situation room we ran here, that I was privileged on Friday before the election to have about 30 to 45 minutes one-on-one discussion with Amina Zakari. Amina Zakari has been a notable name now in Nigeria political.
The eye of the storm.
So I had number one, 2 times I had a encounter with her before this election. When the general briefing was done, before this acting inspector general of police and INEC chairman, I told them, I said, Amina Zakari, you have been in the eye of the storm and people are saying you will manipulate whatever will go on at the National Collation Center. And I'm hearing now that there will be no, it's not every observer that will be allowed access to INEC situation room. You better, let's change that. Allow access. And immediately they granted it. We were allowed access to the situation room and all observers were given ID card. Then Friday before the election, when I had a encounter with her, she told me, said, Nigerians are just focusing at the center. He said, where Amina Zakari was saying this. He said, where I'm even looking at, which many Nigerians are not looking, they are looking at collations. He said, now the figure where they brief for us, yeah, now we go real out to the world. We only do plus and minus here and give it to the world. He said, but election can only now be ring at the polling booth level where politicians can buy people's vote, where they can buy any official, no matter what happened. Look at the youth copper that was caught destroying people's ballot in the bush. Do you blame INEC chairman for that, really? It means that youth copper have decided to betray the country. He has taken money from a political party and decided to carry all the ballot of people to go and burn them or destroy them in the bush. She said that is where the problem lies now. And if political parties are not able to mount agents, party agents in every polling booth to monitor what happens, and anything go wrong there, when you take it to the local government council, you from there take it. That is what they will calculate.
You know, let me take your... Yes.
Okay. What I want,
because we are out of time.
Where I want article to go to court.
Yes.
I covered politicians for the past 29 years. You know what they tell you?
Yes.
Declare me the winner first. Let the other man go to court. No, we have to stop that behavior.
Yeah.
Declare me the winner first.
And that was
let the other man go to court.
That was why the issue.
And so there must be something causing that. Is it that the judicial system is...
No, because we are not testing this ballot box. We are not digital in our election. If you go to National Assembly, I spent 6 years covering the Senate. Okay. They will tell you that, oh, just declare me the winner first. Let the other man go to court.
See, when you are the first person to go to a police station in Nigeria, you are almost ahead of every other person. So you will end up being the other person, whether it's right or wrong, end up being the defendant. So that notwithstanding, I encourage PDP to go to court, and any other political party that feel he or she was cheated. Let's look at this. It will be an opportunity to do a thorough review.
Let's hang it up there. I'm afraid we don't have time.
Without technology, let's hang it up there. Without technology, this noise will continue. Without technology, I can tell you that.
Thank you very much. Without technology, we know we are communicating through technology, yes, and we are going to hang it up there. I want to appreciate my guest for today, Saoke Mogbo. Thank you for coming today.
You very much.
And I also want to appreciate Venerable Joseph Unoya. Thank you, sir, for finding time to come. We also appreciate you, esteemed viewers, for staying tuned. Today, our democratic system is growing and it requires full cooperation of all of us. Don't be discouraged in going out on Saturday to cast your vote again, as you have conducted yourself peacefully. In the last one, please, let's do so. I implore you to keep it up and make this Saturday's governorship and state house of assembly elections more peaceful and violence-free. Always remember, voting is not only our right, but our power. Therefore, keep your PVC, distance yourself from vote buying, and ensure you protect your votes after voting. Till we meet again next week, have a peaceful election, and bye for now.